right, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time to come out this evening. As some of you may know, this is our second forum this week. We did one on Saturday, and then we are doing one again this evening because after the last board meeting, many of our residents were like, hey, we need to meet you all, hear what you're about, find out what's going on for the members that are on the board. And we responded. We worked very hard. We really were trying to have a meet and greet in Dolton, but we weren't able to connect with anyone in Dolton for us to meet some of the Dolton residents. So I want to make that clear that yes, both of these events are in Riverdale, but we really tried to do an event in Dolton as well so that we can connect with some of our Dolton parents. So I'm going to start out as I'm Shalonda Randle, Dr. Randle. I'm on the board and I'm running for re-election. I am an educator, current educator. I'm an assistant superintendent in a school district in the northwest suburbs. But however, I have been an educator here in District 148. I started as a substitute teacher. I moved up as a teacher. I became the principal of one of the schools in District 148 where I was there for 12 years. And I pretty much gave about 18 years of my career in Dolton West School District 148. As I moved up in my career, I went to different districts in the south suburbs, in the northern suburbs, in the southern part of Illinois. I've been around a lot of places, but my heart is still where I live and where I started, and which is on this board in Dolton West School District 148. Absolutely. So we have a slate that will introduce themselves and give you some background about themselves. And my why is just my commitment. I am a 28-year resident of Riverdale, Illinois. And so I've been here, I'm vested. And I just, I have parents, I have students now who live in the community. So I'm just really connected and I want to continue to do what's right for our children and our communities. And that's why I'm running again to be on the board for Dolton West School District 148. So,
thank you.
Hi, my name is Aretha Wyndham Harvey. I am also an educator, retired teacher from this district. I taught in this district for almost 20 years. Prior to that, I was a substitute teacher in the district, and then I transitioned after I got my license to becoming a licensed teacher in the district. I'm as well vested in the district and the community. I have my children have gone to these schools as well as 205. And I've just been in this town for 31 years. It'll be 31 years in June that I moved out to Dolton. I live in Dolton, so I live on the east side of Dolton, still connected to this district. But I'm just as well vested. I haven't had as much opportunity to see other districts as Dr. Randle has, because once I got in District 148, it felt like that's where I was supposed to be. So I stayed in the district until I retired, and I just retired in May of last year. So I decided to run with Dr. Randle just so that I can keep my investment in the district going, keep my investment in the schools going, and then just try to bring some positive change to the district as well.
Okay. It's hard to follow them too because I'm new. I'm new. I'm Sherry Bush. I just moved out to Riverdale. I've been here a couple of years now. We bought a house here. I have 5 children. They're all are grown. I got grandkids in District 148. So when I moved out here, I noticed that the board didn't have any parents on there. I was surprised. I'm come from the city. I sat on the board in Chicago District for 18 years. So I've been around politics, all that. I'm not about all the politics. I'm about the kids. When I say the kids, I mean strictly the kids. I know I met Dr. Randle, didn't even know who she was. Didn't even know who she was, but when I decided to run, it wasn't because I knew anybody. It was for something I wanted to do because I did it for so many years. And I come out here, there's no one parent sitting on this board. I'm looking at these people like, so Google every last one of them.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I Googled everybody to see what was going on. Not one parent. So what can these people on the board tell us about the kids in the school? Nothing. I mean, no disrespect because y'all from the school. Right. But right now, who's on the board that's in the school? I am. I'm invested. I got kids in 205 also in high school. Kids I got custody of, but they're my family. I invested in their education. My grandson and grandkids that goes to Washington Elementary right now is my #1 priority. If their education can't grow, what are they going to school for? It's nothing. So, you know, like I say, I'm there for the kids. Politics is politics. It's going to be politics. But when we talk about making sure our kids get what they need, making sure these buildings up to standard, because I'm in a building I just found out was 100 years old. I got something from somebody that said one building was 120 years old. Why are we in these? Why are our kids in these buildings?
Absolutely.
So I'm here for the kids. You know, I'm new. I'm not young, but I'm new. And Riverdale, I got 25 years, at least 25 years here. Okay. I just bought a house, so 25 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm so glad the ladies, they went first. My father always said, be a gentleman at all times. I'm Elder Ernesto Mickens. I have 10 children that graduated from District 148. I have been in this community for 44 years. I have been a strong supporter, my entire family, all the way that I can remember during the 60s. I have been a strong supporter of District 148 Union. And if anyone is a union member, they know that. When I'm in those schools, I'm telling them, support the union, fight for the union. Because when you're fighting for the union, you should know the real importance of it all is fighting for our children, because that's what it's all about. I got elected in 1991, and I had no idea it was going to be like a career. But when you have 10 children, my neighbors counting on their neighbors to fight for the children, that's what it's all about. My children have received a fantastic education, District 148, 205. My oldest daughter, Unique Mickens, was a teacher in District 148, and I'm a strong believer. You put your best teachers, kindergarten, all the way to 3rd grade. She did, I think, 17 years in District 148. The IEA asked her, she applied to be a lobbyist for them, because a lot of these elected officials, from Durban to Duckworth to all of the state senators, an awful lot of them have no clue whatsoever in being in a classroom. So they need educators to get out here and articulate it for them and know the importance of putting the right curriculum together, because they don't have a clue. So this is what she do. She put curriculum together, travel all over the state. I am so blessed. The majority of my children are educators. My youngest daughter, Bella, is graduating from LSU Law Center. High honors. She has individuals that partners calling me up. We Googled your daughter, and we'd like for her to come here. A black, strong, young lady. She could write her own ticket. I am so blessed. My children, they listened, kept their mouth shut, because they knew I walked the sidewalk longer than them. It has always been a partnership with my neighbors, with educators. This lady right here, and we work together. Let me tell you. The gentleman in the back, we work together. That's why District 148 was on the Walk of Fame. When we would go out of the state, they knew about District 148, because we put a team together. We put individuals together that if we're going to be there at 2 o'clock in the morning and we don't get paid 1 penny being on the school board, focusing on the children. A lot of times it's heated, but when it's all said and done, it's about those children, because these children are our future. It's no longer about District 148, our students, or 205, or the state of Illinois, or our country. This is international. And these children are coming from abroad, the Pacific or the Atlantic, speaking 3 and 4 languages. They know the metric system. These children are going to be our children's boss unless we handle our business. But the right people on those boards that's going to make sure that we do what's in the best interest of the children, the taxpayers, be responsible about that budget, and not just accepting anything to come in and our children be experimenting on it. Then when we get it together, it goes to another district. We just asking, put the right people on the board. Sometimes the best candidate don't win, and it's okay. It's how you handle it. And we supposed to support the board, whatever it may be, but the board have to be on point. Integrity, that's so important. Transparency, that's so important. See how this young lady came in the community and want to do her part. That's what it's all about. And we have to embrace her and say, hey, it's enough room for everybody to be able to help these children. But it starts at home. Children are what they see. When they come to our schools, the teachers have to have a relationship with them. If they want those children to do well, you must have a relationship with that child, because that child is going to know if you truly care, or are you just here for a paycheck. We have some good teachers, and we have some teachers that's sitting back doing nothing. We know that. But it started having these educators and people that care. I told folks about you, about Miss Johnson, because I've worked on the board with folks like this. And I trust them, because you parents are sending your greatest commodity to our schools. Not your house, not your car, but your children. Send us a decent product to the schools, we'll send a better one back. But it's teamwork. Yeah. My children are doing well, but I whoop children's butts. I handle my business. We have all those children. I just want everyone's child to do well. I can't turn my back on nobody else's child, because mine is doing well, because they're going to end up crossing the path. Please, people, be active in what's going on in our community. Yeah. We cannot sit on our hands. Everybody know about Dolton. Everyone is beginning to know about the South Suburban area. But it's got to be in a positive way. Men step up to the plate, because these women have carried the load. So we have to do our part. And just God bless you all. And I talk like my mother. My father, quite a strong black man. But please forgive me. God bless you all. And thank you all for stepping up to the plate. Thank you for all that you have done.
Thank you.
Because I know what you are. And I know you're tough on that board. And I like that. God bless each and every one of you. My name is Elder Ernesto. My punch number is 146.
Okay.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for that sermon.
Oh, yeah. I'm an elder. I'm like, I could have been dancing for Jesus up in that whole thing.
And I really, one thing about this forum, we are holding this, we're doing this, but we welcome other candidates, because you should hear what other people have to say. Yes, we have a slate, we've been talking, but there are other people running, and I appreciate, like Mr. Givens, he was not able to be here, but he did call, and he said, and I told him I will make sure I let people know he is a board member that's running for re-election. He is serving from the Harvey community. So I know that he is also one of the other candidates. And then Ms. Johnson will be here later. She had a family commitment, but she will be joining us. But I always believe, even like the candidates that are up running now in Dolton, we should have had a forum so everybody can hear everyone's voice. I believe in that. I put that on the table, and unfortunately, it was not well received. So we did this. But I am glad, and I want you all to know, is that we're not just pushing for people to be on the board, but giving you an opportunity to hear other people and ask questions of those people who are running on that slate. So thank you, Mr. Mickens. Like I said, when I saw him, put your stuff out here and feel free to speak, because we don't know who's going to get on that board, but at least you had an opportunity to hear from people who are on there, right?
Absolutely.
So we're going to go ahead and get started and just kind of talk about some things, and then just open it up for you all to ask us questions. But what we, going back to what Mr. Mickens talked about, transparency, And that is very important for, I think, every candidate, is that unfortunately what happened when it came to the superintendent's contract, there was lack of transparency for the community. And so we need to be better in making sure that we don't call special board meetings to do things that exclude our community. And so I know, as someone who is currently sitting on the board, that is definitely a concern for me. And I often say that in open meetings, we need to be more transparency. There's a lack of transparency. And when that happens, that brings a lack of trust. And I don't want to be a part of a team where people don't trust. So for me, going back to what was mentioned, is that we want to, when we talk about transparency, we talked about parent and community involvement. Yes. How do we continue to reach parents and community? Whether, we talked about opening our board meetings so that they can be streamed, which most districts are doing right now. Why aren't we having our board meetings open so people can hear what is happening with the technology that we have? So that is something, to me, I know personally as a board member, I want to bring to other board members and say, can we work on this type of transparency, in particular with our board meetings, so that people can hear what is happening? And if they can't hear, at least they can join when they're at home or traveling from work.
That's what
because
we need.
the time frame that we currently have for our board meetings are 5 o'clock in the evening.
That's insane.
And that, and it's unfortunate that these barriers are created to stop people from being engaged and involved. So we need to look at times. We know, like Ms. Johnson mentioned, people are getting off work at 5. We're traveling. So if we need to push a time back to, if people can't make it, at least when you're at home, you're cooking dinner, you can watch it that way as well. So that is something I know, and I'll ask any other of my teammates.
I just want to add on to what Dr. Randle was saying. Also, we have a marquee on the district building that is not utilized for specific things, but we were talking about it, and in retrospect, I've never seen the board meeting posted on there. So our community may not even know when our board meetings are held, even though it is on our website. If you don't have kids at those schools, you don't look at that website. So if it's posted on the marquee, as you're driving past, going to get your prescription, going to get your Ruby's dinner or whatever, you can see that on there and you go, oh, there's a board meeting, maybe I'll attend. And so they'll give you another opportunity to be present at the meeting. And we're not asking the parents to come to every board meeting. We're asking you to look at the agenda, see if there's anything on there that you may or may not have a question about, and then attend a board meeting every now and then. We're not asking you to attend every one, but we would like to see a higher attendance from our parent and our community, because this is our tax dollars.
Yeah.
This is our tax dollars. That $500,000 salary is coming out of our taxes. That's the only way it can get paid. So then we pay higher taxes. We don't live in a community where we should be paying $5,000 a month. I mean, not a month, a year in taxes. We don't live in that kind of community, so we should not be paying those type of salaries. It's just not warranted, and I just would like to see more transparency, the integrity. I want our integrity for our district. We're on the news as a negative aspect. There's people in Texas that know about Dolton.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean,
Texas.
the mayor in Dalton, and now we got the superintendent in Dalton, Riverdale. We want to be, we want to be more transparent. And
all around the globe. It's not just Texas.
yes, I'm just saying, because somebody from Texas contacted me.
Really?
Don't you live in Dalton? No.
She say no.
Just the South suburban area.
I have been to it. They go, oh, that's what's going on. Yeah, I know. Okay. But we just want to have transparency. We want to have integrity. We want to be, our voice to be heard and your voice to be heard as well. We want to make decisions not based on who we like or who we dislike, but just what's best for these kids in this district. That's what we want to make decisions on, and that's what I would like to see going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Let me chime in real fast.
Okay.
So I'm listening, and that vote for Dr. Noli to get this raise is insane when the gentleman got up and said, our kids are not reading. Then we go back and look at the statistics when they posted on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know I was gonna be on YouTube. Who posted on YouTube about the statistics of our kids in this district, who's not learning? And I go back and think, and I'm in the building, and I look like, they said all our young kids don't know nothing.
They don't.
And it's amazing because I'm thinking into myself, oh, I know my kids got it. But in reality,
They don't.
they in them statistics, they don't know nothing. In my head, they know something, but on paper, they know nothing. We got to make a change there because they making us look like, oh, there's just nobody out there. Them people in Riverdale ain't nobody. That's just a little small community. They don't care about us.
No, they don't.
They don't care. Because we're a small community. But small community makes a hard impact
Yeah.
when we got the right people helping with that hard impact.
Exactly.
Without no impact, we have nothing. We just that small little, what's a good word to use? I don't want to use a negative word, but in the eyes of the world right now, we're nobody.
We listen. We are looking like crap when it
Yes.
comes to the world, and because of what Tiffany Henier has done with Dolton, and because Dolton is so big on the map right now with everybody and all of this corruption, the school board is really about to take a big hammer because of that raise that they gave, and it's going to affect Dolton even more negatively now because that raise was approved.
Right, because the name of the district is Dolton
West.
West
School District.
It's not Dolton Riverdale
Nope.
School District, it's Dolton West. Now, even though we have Riverdale, we have Harvey, and we have parts of South Holland as our community, the name of that district is Dolton West
Yep.
School District
So it's
148. So that name, it's like when you hear the word leprosy.
Yes.
Okay, what do you think? Everybody in the room gonna
Some
be
bad.
infected.
Some
You
bad.
know, and that's just a metaphor of what I'm trying to display. It's gonna affect us all.
Yeah.
It's gonna affect us, and hopefully, we can get some positivity moving forward.
Yeah.
What I just like about it is that, they're using the apron method, meaning that they're gonna bring somebody in, and the same, supervisor and, gonna teach someone else something that he's not doing. So how could he teach someone else? And then, how could you say, well, we're gonna give him $30,000 for the first year, then for the second year, we're gonna give him 30. Okay, that same money you could have been using to pay for the new person that's gonna come in. So I don't understand, why are you using money before the product even get here?
Absolutely.
Let me tell you, amateur hour is over. When it comes down to our children, now, if this individual is going to train someone, he's going to train them the same way his thinking is. And we can't afford that whatsoever.
No.
But it's one thing that we know. When parents feel pain, they gonna scream and holler. And it's imperative that we do that.
Oh,
If we want to attract good quality individuals to District 148, then our education system have to be on point. That's why so many individuals that have lived in Dolton, lived in Riverdale, they're moving to Homewood, Flossmoor, because the education system is on point and they don't have to spend their money in private school. And that's what I did. When I came here, the majority of the people were Caucasian. We made sure our children was on point. And when you make sure your children are on point and know their history, because they were not given the history of our great black folks. So I had to do it in my home. When you letting the community know that you mean business, that you're not going to sit up there, just throw their money up in there and shoot it, and that you truly, truly care about these children. When these children, like, individuals said that, well, don't y'all get paid being on the school board? No, we don't get paid one penny. But when we hand that child
They don't?
their diploma, we just get paid.
Really?
Those children can come back and tell us, thank you for everything that you did. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being in the store, telling me, hey, listen, I remember, I know your parent. That's what it's all about. And that's what, we're the bridge between the administration and the community, the board. You get, me personally, I get my best ideas from the individuals that have children in the district.
Yeah.
That's where I get my best ideas, and I sit up there and we just modified it, us on the board, and made it better. But we cannot allow District 148 to go down the tube like they did, like Dolton. And everything starts from the top. If the head is terrible, everything else is gonna fall by the wayside. We cannot do what India started their economy from the top down. We have to start our children from kindergarten, first grade, third grade, fourth grade. That's what we have to do. That's where we put the best teachers there. But we need strong individuals that's going to stand up to these bullies on the school board that's sitting up there, going closed session, then sit up with this nonsense, because I done heard it. I've been on the board for so long, that when we go out to the public, we're going to be unified. We're going to be together. We're going to all vote together. If everybody's voting together, somebody's not thinking. And I'm going to vote my conscience, because I have to see these parents and these children in the community. So that's good you all are running, and that you care. Mothers care, but we have to do
There's
it.
no qualified people in Dolton that could take a position that the superintendent is running. He has, what, 2 jobs now?
Yeah, finance.
And so I'll be out, going back to that.
He's doing something else. What is
He's the chief school business official.
Businessman.
Yep, and again, this has been brought up at some of the board meetings about these 2 positions and conflict of interest, right? And so, that's why when I mentioned we need to look at a chief school business official first, because we need somebody to come in and look at our finances, and then we can find a superintendent. Because what we're trying to do is have both the superintendent and the chief school business official walk out in 2027 and bring in 2 new people. Right. 2 new, and I think that's going back to what you all are saying, that is not consistent. There are competent people that can be a chief school business official.
Amen.
They can help get our finances, because that's another thing. When we talk about academic achievement, we have 3 schools that are comprehensive now, and we have another school that's been targeted for a very, very long time. And so we need to look at what is that achievement? Which students are not making a mark? Like, who are our marginalized students? Right. And that conversation is not happening at the board meetings. So when we're going to board meetings and nobody is talking about children, then that's when we take our focus away from children. Yes, it's nice to have children come in for sports and get their certificate and their pencils, and I'm on a whole nother level. I think when kids do well, they deserve more than a certificate and a pencil. We pay a lot of money. Our children should walk away with a little plaque or something more tangible, scholarships that we're paying for, something than just giving them a certificate and a pencil and a picture. But that's Dr. Randle on a whole nother,
it's something you did as principal, Dr. Randle. Those children, you celebrated those children at Roosevelt School.
Yeah.
Let me
They
ask.
felt appreciated.
I'm gonna ask this: when it comes to his new contract, what the terms still the same as his old contract, or do he have new stipulations that he have to you have to do this, and this to make sure that you are on target with being our superintendent?
So we can't talk about his contract,
Okay.
but you can FOIA the contract.
Okay.
And then you can also request that his contract be put on the district website.
I'll do that.
Some school districts have the superintendent's contract visible. That's your voice, right?
Okay.
To say we want his contract to be visible on the website.
So is that already completed? Like they have it official and they can if you
They
FOIA
voted on it, so
Okay.
I'm assuming the contract is
Gotcha.
ready to be public.
May I ask, what was that vote? What was was it a 5-2 or 4-2?
It was it was one board member
4-2.
that was not there, so it was a 4-2
Yeah.
vote.
And that's another thing, when they say, the board voted on a new contract, the public assumes, and I'm guilty of this too, if I wasn't so involved, I would think 6 people or 7 people voted for a new contract. That's not how it works. It's the majority. So, and you know that, Mr. Lloyd, as a previous board member, you know that it's the majority. So the board voted, but it wasn't the whole board that voted. It was to 2 vote, and one board member was not present.
Right, yeah, I know, yeah.
So,
And then you questioned the payment, like do board members get paid, and then you were very shocked that they don't.
So all most elected officials, and I guess this is not truly an elected official role, but most of them do get like at least $11,000 or something
No,
like
they
that.
get nothing.
But let me say that we know when we ask the community to sign a petition to vote for us, we already know that there's no pay.
Okay.
Some school districts get paid and get a pension,
Right.
but that's not the case in the state of Illinois.
Gotcha.
But it's okay, because I'll take a volunteer over somebody I have to pay. Because once the money run out, they're going about their business. So I'll take a volunteer, and this is what we're doing. Volunteering, standing in the gap for parents that's not going to be able to be at the school. But they know that we got board members that's running, that really care, and they're going to do their job. But we have to demand that the head be on point. You're talking about integrity, it should start at the top. Now, I asked some time ago when I was on the school board, I said, we need to ask employees, we need to check your background. I said, well, let's start with the board, start with me.
They was
Run a
doing that
check
to
on my
parents,
background
too.
to see, because I'm around children.
When
You
I
don't
used to
want
come up there, I
anybody
used to have to
around
check
your
mine.
children. So, we have to do better, and we need to let it be known, to me personally, every 2 months, how did this board vote? It's Freedom of Information Act. I mean, you need to know what we're doing. Because if we're not doing our job, we need to leave. If people are not being respectful, they need to leave. Forget about, I like you a lot, Dr. Randle, but I know the essence of who you are. So I'll back because you have this expertise. But if you're not on point, if your integrity is out the window, then I'm gonna back up. And I'm gonna start screaming how to let it be known. Same way if I'm not on point. Integrity means everything. I thank God that 44 years in District 148 can nobody say nothing. Not one woman can say I flirted, said anything, and I don't suppose to, that I'm on point, and I'm going to vote one so I can be pleased with my Heavenly Father. But I thank God you ladies are stepping up to play. Everyone needs to run for office. Nobody should run unopposed.
And then I also would like to say, in these thriving districts, me personally, I've always wanted to visit a school that was thriving. I would like for us to do that as a board, to see maybe attend their board meeting or attend their classes or something, just to see what's different. What is different?
We did that. I got the board. When I was
I've
board
never been
president,
exposed to it.
I asked our board, to go to other school districts. And we went to other school districts to see how they're running. Then we could measure ourselves.
Right.
It was Bill Smith was vice president. I was president. So we went to these school districts.
Yeah,
to see
I'd
what's
like
going
to
on.
see that. I wanted to
Yes.
see that as a teacher, like just to visit another school that was doing well, that taught the same grade that I taught, to see, because teachers are, me personally, everything that I've ever taught, I got it from somebody else. Every method that I've ever used, I got it from somebody else. So if I'm copying what they're doing, I wanted to work in my classroom as well.
And perfect it.
Right, and then I'm gonna tweak it and perfect it, and I feel like that's how we should behave as board members as well.
and I think, again, living on transparency, because this was asked at the meeting on Saturday, do understand that we do have board trainings. And we go to conferences,
Yes.
and that, our taxpayers do pay for that, right?
Yes.
So that is one of the benefits of being on the board, is that we have the opportunity to network with other school board members,
Right.
nationwide and locally.
Yes, right.
So that, and that is something that, again, we need to be held to a standard with that.
Yes.
Because when we come back from these conferences, nobody's reporting out.
And that's a
Nobody,
disgrace. That's a
and that
shame.
used to be the case, where when it's similar to
Exactly,
like,
yes.
when teachers or administrators go to conferences, you need to come back and share with us,
That's
what
right.
did you learn?
Right.
And if we are going on these conferences and these trips and you all are paying for it, and we come back the next day and say it was a
nothing.
great trip, and we are not telling you
Right,
what
what
we
you
learned
did.
and what we did, right?
Yeah.
That's that transparency and that integrity. Because I would want to know if I'm paying for you to go to Atlanta or to Las Vegas,
Yes.
what you do,
Tell
what you
them.
learn,
Right.
what are you bringing back to our district?
Absolutely.
You know, so that's another thing that I think as a board we need to go back to doing those things again.
Yeah.
When I was at the last meeting, someone was reading out the budget. Was he reading out the budget, finances? One of the guys, I heard him say something about the finances.
That
What
was
was
the
he talking
superintendent.
about?
That was the superintendent.
Well,
No, I think it was the finance chair.
oh, well, the next time when they have their meeting, they need to pass out something so everybody can go along.
So, again, that's
Transparency.
what you all need to lift, because, you should also know what the finances of the district are,
Right.
right? And if that's not presented, then we need to say, where is your budget report? Even if you can't get something in writing, something should be posted.
On the screen.
So that on the screen, right? Because if you're sitting there and you're just hearing all these numbers, you don't know what that means.
Right.
Right? And so those are things that, again, the community can lift and say, hey, we need for this to happen as well, too.
Question about the finances, what she was saying. So when you guys have meetings and when you guys are, just speak, not with the finances, but I want to go back to the children and their test scores. So with my son, when I had issues with him, you know, I've had issues with him in the beginning. So I wanted to get him an IEP because I wanted to just see like where he was at, because, you know, he had some challenges. And their biggest thing about giving him an IEP was that he reads on the same level as everybody else. So even though he was failing and like 2 or 3 grade levels behind, because all of the other students were failing and 2 or 3 grade levels behind, then that was standard for this school district, and there was no reason for him to be separated out because he was learning at the pace that he was supposed to learn, which to me made no sense, because now you're saying that all of the kids are struggling, and how are we going to combat that? And I want my son to excel. I don't want him to be 2 or 3 grade levels behind with his teaching. So like with that, what do you say to parents as far as how can we get our test scores back up? What can we do to make sure that we don't know what they're learning. They don't get homework. So how do we, you understand? You know, I used to ask for homework all the time. So we don't understand what they're doing in school. He's doing a constitution now, and since my surgeries, I forgot a lot, so I would like to go over the work with him, but they won't. They just saying that there's nothing really to send home, so it handicaps, I think, us parents. Yeah, that's what they told me. They told me that. So I just had a meeting with the school like about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. So it's just like, even with us parents asking for certain things, if it's not available, we can't get it. Right. And then instead of them saying, okay, well, we're going to try and do this, or just go online and do this, they're like, oh, no, that's okay. They don't need homework at home. They do enough at school. And I just don't think that's right.
And I think you, with that, you follow the chain of command, which it sounds like what you're doing, right? You have a concern with what's happening in the classroom. Then you meet with the administration of the school, get more clarity. And then if you're not satisfied with that, then you move up to someone at the district office to help support you with what you're trying to gather.
Right, but if they feel like everybody is at the same level, how can you get that rectified?
This is where I went back and I talked about when we do presentations with so in October, our scores come back from the state.
Okay.
And when you look at that data, it'll tell you which groups of students are not successful. So that should be public. So if we're saying that students with disabilities are not meeting the mark, and that is our category that is having our schools not succeed, what are we doing? And then at that point, there should be conversation and discussion of a plan. And then it should be constant monitoring. So we should see, like, okay, in October, this is what we got. How are they looking in December and January? Right. How are they looking in March before they take that assessment? But if we don't know which kids are needing help and we just bucket everybody, then we don't know how to help kids, because we're just putting a whole school is failing, when in actuality it may be your Black African American boys that are failing and not your girls. But and so we have, that's what I'm saying with that transparency on the academics, that there's supposed to be presentations about data presented to parents and a community that talks about how students are growing and where we're missing the mark.
Right.
Because a lot of
Talk about
times
that
children,
four times a year that the parents could, to come to the school, because there should be some type of contract. It should be something
we
to
did talk
say
about
that, yes, in January, we're gonna start off the year, and that's one, and then sometime in March, they'll do another contract, and then, until the end of the school. What makes it so bad is, from what I'm hearing, is that by the time the end of the school year come, the child should not even be passed into the next grade.
No
That's what
child
I'm
left
hearing.
behind.
That's what I'm hearing.
They started that with my little brother.
And I feel at this point, it has to be something else that's actually done, and they're actually right, as far as the community, you can look around the room.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. But the point is this, we can stand up here and talk all day long and do all this little stuff, whatever you guys are doing to get the vote. There's no problem with getting the vote. But the thing is, after you get that vote, I really want to know, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Because from what I'm looking at right now, I don't know, are we getting a brand new bunch of people as sitting on as trustees? And are we gonna still do the same things? Because it appears to me that Mr. Lawrence has a very big hold on holding on to things and making it work the way that he wants it. And I've only been to 2 meetings, and I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
So something needs to be done in reference to, for one thing, I didn't hear nobody say, oh, we're gonna have parents come out and we're gonna look at the budget, we're gonna have the parents come out and we're going to, because I wanna know where the money.
Yeah.
These kids, they should have that money.
Say
That
that.
superintendent should not be getting that money.
Say
He should
that.
be ashamed of himself to even take it.
Absolutely.
Because that's the money he should be giving to the kids.
amen.
And I think it goes back to, when you talk about the politics of the board, it really is the majority. I can sit and I can scream as much as I want to, but if the majority of the board is not in cohesiveness and agreement, then that board will move in that direction.
So he's out in 2026? Who's out in 2026?
No one is out in 2026, yeah. No one is out in 2026, so there are 4 seats up. He said 2027. Everybody, so what he was saying in 2027, his seat will be up, and so will some other board, Lawrence. So if he had, let's just look at this picture. He has 3 constituents that really support him. And there's only 1 that's up. If, for whatever reason, 1 more person gets on,
Right.
I'm gonna sit here and tell you, the board will stay the same. Yeah, I can sit here and tell you everything that I want to. I don't have the majority. I don't have a strong vote.
Okay.
I can continue to say what I wanna say, and the people who are in charge that have the strongest vote will continue to run the board the way it is.
Right.
So you're right, I can sit here and say whatever you want to, but if we don't change the leadership of the board, and if 1 person gets on, yeah, it will be the same. And you know what, you'll say, you lied to us because you told us.
Yep.
When you move as a board, you move together,
Yeah.
but the majority runs the board.
So how can the parents become more active?
You have to attend the meetings,
What is the goal? I mean, there has to be something, some way of communication. And it appears to me communication is the downfall for everything. And I don't care, I don't know if you're gonna pass out little sheets of paper, are you gonna pass it out, or are you gonna go to the stores and post it? I really don't know.
Yeah.
But I know someone needs to bring some recognition to what's actually going on in 148.
Yeah.
I can go in depth, but whoever see my face, they know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But that's your
I know the
voice.
little kids runs in and out of the classrooms. I know that. They run out of the classroom, go to the bathroom. They run out of the classroom, run down to one of the counselors because that person's gonna take up for them. Okay? I've been there, done that, I saw it. So that's why I'm sitting here today, because I wanna hear it. It can't work, it can't continue to go like that. Either the teacher's gonna start talking up more, or they're gonna get recognized.
I feel like as a parent myself,
That's
That's what I'm saying too.
Yes,
Why
you
is it
can
that we
sue-
can't
you can
sue?
sue the school.
we definitely have to be more involved. I talked to Dr. BC last week, and I told her I was gonna be part of the parent advisory committee next year. So for Roosevelt, I know she said she had 5 parents that have signed up for this year. So since the year is almost over, she said that she's gonna put me in touch with that parent advisory board since the school year is almost done. But next year, my goal is to be more involved within the school district, especially since my son is in 8th grade, because I want to make sure that we are doing right by these children, and we have to make sure that they stay on the straight and narrow and that they get back up. My question is, once the superintendent gets into office, is it like a Tiffany Henry thing where he just got his contract for the next however many years it's signed for, or do he have certain things that he have to be required, or he can be let go out of that contract? I guess that's my thing. Is that contract solid where no matter what, he's basically in there?
He has obligations that he has to fulfill with that contract.
Okay.
Again, that is looking at his contract
Right.
and sharing whatever the board has hold him accountable for.
Okay.
So that really is just up to whoever the board is that comes in there.
And it's
Okay.
also, I didn't notice at first, but he gets evaluated by the board.
Yeah.
And if it's 7 people that's evaluating him and 4 people give him good scores,
Right.
and then 3 people give him bad scores, that's like getting 3 A's
And
and
2
2
F's.
It's gonna average out to a C.
C. Yep.
Okay, and so unfortunately, it puts us in another conundrum as far as what can be done to alleviate some of these issues. And I heard you say it shouldn't be evaluated by the board.
Did I say that?
Oh, I thought you said that shouldn't be.
No, it should be. It
Why,
should.
why shouldn't it be? Because the school board is the superintendent's only boss.
Yeah.
Let me say this. When it comes to certain things, that's what the problem is. That's why Tiffany stayed in office so long. She should have been out a long time ago, not to get off the subject.
That's true.
But the point is this. Why would you let it get all baked and ready to go and nobody's complaining? I haven't heard nobody, I didn't know anybody, I didn't even know who this guy Nolte was. But my thing is just this. There's some type of way as parents, even with PTAs, or like we were talking about voting, letting the kids learn how to vote, to get a committee together. Kids can talk. Kids can make things happen
Oh, excuse me.
when they want to make it happen. But they're not being encouraged to tell their parents exactly what's going on. They should be able to come home and discuss what had happened to them that day. But when they come home, only thing they want to do, most likely, and one of the ladies has said, is go outside to the park and play.
Or
And
use
the
video
parents stay in the
games.
house. Well, I don't see that for everybody. I see that probably for some parents. But I do think there should be some type of teachers getting more involved, encouraging the kids to talk up, encouraging the kids to do the work, and have more parent-teachers meetings, and find out what's actually happening to the child. That's not happening. Since the pandemic, it appears to me, everything is falling to the wayside. And all the things that probably was progressive in the past is not anymore, because the teachers are getting lazy.
They are lazy.
Let me say this then.
Not all of them.
We
but
have
some
a
of them are.
board. The board lives in the community. We are the ones that beat the drums. We're the ones that communicate with parents and students and telling, and hey, let your parents know there's a board meeting. Let your parents know that it's open, you can be at a finance meeting. We have to do our part. We have to make sure that these parents feel comfortable coming into schools. That they shouldn't have to feel that they're the enemy, that they're not allowed to come in and check to see what's going on.
Well, Ms. Harvey said blast,
Pardon me?
send out blast.
Phone blast.
Phone blast to the
Yeah,
teachers.
and text
to parents.
messages to
Yeah.
parents.
I mean, whether it's right or wrong, at least you get 10.
Right, we sent out
You may not
phone
get-
blasts
You may not
for.
get 20, but at least you can get 10.
Right, we send out phone blasts for parent-teacher conferences. We send out phone blasts when there's a snow day.
Every Sunday.
every Sunday. And I don't even work in the district. I still do send them out school bus. But we do send them out, so why can't we send them out to let our parents know when a board meeting is coming?
Or parent advisory.
Or parent
coming.
advisory,
Yeah.
or
even
you know.
like the finance committee. Those are committees of the whole. Those
Right.
are open to the public
Absolutely.
as well too.
Right.
So those
My
meetings.
lunch money and all, but well, not lunch money, but I would like to know who's receiving that, who's buying something. I went to one school, I was working in one school once, and at the school, they ordered, the teacher ordered a boom box. What you need a boom box for? So I find out that it goes through some type of system, and someone actually look at who's placing the orders. And she canceled that order. I mean, that's just like somebody overseeing something and actually saying, no, we're not gonna do this. Maybe we can get something else for the kids, maybe some flashcards,
Right.
you know, or something like that. Because it's getting kind of ridiculous from some of the things that I hear. Like I say, I don't have any kids. My kids is 40 and 50.
Mr. Lord.
I mean, according to finance for public education, you know, you can't make purchases without them coming through your finance committee. If there are purchases being made for anything that hasn't come through and been verified by the finance committee, then people are spending your money illegally.
That's why she stopped it. She said, no.
So, you know,
So I think it's honesty is the best policy, right?
absolutely. We're trying.
Ask the president.
Ms. Johnson is here. So let's do Ms.
Hi, Ms. Johnson.
Hi, hello everyone.
Hey,
Please excuse my tardiness
it's okay.
to just to share a piece of my personal life. I recently lost my youngest sister, passed away in November,
Condolences.
and she left behind two younger children, aged 17 and 19. I don't have any birth children of my own, but I have hundreds of kids because I've cared for kids almost 30 years in my career. But the two children that she left behind are now with me. And so I'm providing care for them. And today we had our first grief counseling session was scheduled today. So I had to be present for that. And that's the reason I'm tardy today. But I do thank you all so much for coming.
Share a
Condolences.
little bit about yourself, Ms. Johnson.
As I stated, first of all, I am a 33-year resident of Riverdale,
Okay.
homeowner. I am single, unmarried, no children. I didn't have any kids, now I have two, my niece and nephew. I've devoted almost 30 years of my life to caring for children and families associated with DCFS and providing care, advocating for the children, the voice, to be their voice.
Yes.
I've been very active. I'm very, very proud of the fact that many of my kids, the kids that I've worked with, have not only completed high school, but college and advanced college degrees. I stress education with our children. Many of our children in DCFS, unfortunately, are African American. And the bar is set low. And it's thought that if they complete high school, they've done a great thing. I strive to move the bar higher, because our kids deserve the same quality education and higher education, just like every other race. So I'm currently on the school board and seeking to be reelected. I'm proud to be part of this slate because we are children-centered, scholars-centered and focused. We have to get on the board so that we can do better for our kids, have higher success rates in reading and math, and be a community where people are knocking the doors down to get into the village of Riverdale because they know we have great schools.
Glad to have that.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question about Mr. Gibbons.
Yes.
Is he one of your along with you guys most of the time? Because I know you're trying to build up I don't know, I know you're trying to build up something whereas you can come in agreement and get more votes in.
Yeah, to go in the
Okay.
right direction,
Mhm.
yes.
So is Mr. Givens one of those people that votes along with you guys?
He votes, you know, we really wanna vote our conscience.
Right.
So I don't vote against everything that's on the board. And Mr. Givens, he's similar to that. He votes his conscience, but he's definitely not in support of giving the superintendent that increase. And he's definitely about supporting children. So we don't want to be a contentious board where we vote against everything, but there are some things that we just have to stand strong on. And the increase of the superintendent's contract is something that we couldn't, some of us just could not go along with that.
Yeah, very good, that's right.
How long, before
You
the,
have a question, 'cause I know your hand's
I'm
been up. I'm
sorry.
sorry, sweetheart.
no, I just want to know, how long before you guys knew and the public knew about that, contract? What, that special meeting, like, did y'all know?
Every meeting is a 48-hour notice.
So it was just in 48, okay,
Every meeting is 48 hours.
gotcha.
I'm sorry.
I just want to know, is the District 148 being sued?
The district is under a federal lawsuit, that is correct.
Under a federal lawsuit?
Yes,
For what?
Can you mention anything about it, or you can't?
I can.
I
can.
Okay.
But I won't to save face with,
Well,
if it is.
she
if-
can, but you can, so.
Yes, well, I'm pretty sure that it's the former deputy superintendent of the school district,
What's her name?
Dr.
Sonia Whitaker.
Whitaker, I remember her,
And
okay.
She's the plaintiff, Sonia Whitaker.
So that is, yes, we are under a federal lawsuit.
I liked her.
Every
She
parent
was
should
very
like her.
helpful.
And she was fired, right?
Yes, by the secretary.
Terminated.
That's what you were talking
I
about.
told you to behave yourself. See, this is what I have to manage with people. You know, behave yourself, all right?
I'm doing good.
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Is there a possibility of consolidating District 149 and 148?
That is really a legal matter, legislative matter above our powers. That would have to be total community's
Right.
involvement,
Right.
surveys.
That'll take a lot.
meetings,
Referendum.
referendums,
Right, has that been
yeah.
brought up before?
Because it's total different tax bodies.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's why.
yeah.
It's like that, because I think it was District 133
133, right.
wanted to
Merge.
merge with District 148, you know. I mean, that's a tough.
Who is
tough
133?
call.
That's
They have one school,
George
District
Patton.
133.
Oh, and, by the pay setters?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, so the conversation like that has happened before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, that conversation came about dealing with the property tax.
yes.
It's probably,
Same books. I don't know if that's happening or not, but I don't believe it.
No, it's not.
Well, the standards, supposedly, the standards that are being taught
Uh-huh.
are supposed to be the same in the whole country. Those are, they did something a few years ago where we had the same standards.
Okay.
So, that is supposed to be happening in the country. We're supposed to all be teaching the same standards. Now, as far as teaching out of the same book or the same curriculum, that's never going to happen because there are so many different opinions. First of all, there are so many different cultures, and sometimes a district may or may not teach to that culture. If the culture is primarily Hispanic, they're not going to teach the curriculum the same way as it's taught in a black community, and also. Varying the curriculums allows for autonomy with the schools or districts, teachers, and it also prevents us from being my most hated thing, a cookie cutter society, because we don't all speak the same language, so we're not going to all learn the
So
same.
they done kicked out the SAT and all those other little things?
No, those are still valid.
They just took the SAT out.
Oh, okay.
And now it's ACT.
Okay.
Yeah, ACT. So, and that's, you know, a lot of
what
sometimes
you mean they took it out? They don't.
so
that's for
the
it?
state changed from the SAT to PSAT now to the ACT. That happened last year.
So
Oh,
that's how I get on that point, that how can a child learn, my child go and do an ACT test, when one school is teaching one way, and the other school is teaching another way.
Because it's not about the way it's taught, it's
Well,
about
the way
what's,
it's
it's
written,
about,
from my understanding, the way the ACT test is written, the child has to understand what a pencil look like and what a pen look like.
the language needs to be
Okay.
adjusted so that it accommodates the culture.
Okay.
It does, you know,
That's all I text.
right, and that's just standardized tests for different communities. We don't progress as a culture on these tests because that's not the language that we speak. If I go into a white neighborhood and I say, put a pallet on the floor, they're not gonna know what I'm talking about. But if I come in your house and say it, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. If I go into a white neighborhood and say, can I borrow a pair of your slacks? They'll know. But a black neighborhood, it's not gonna be the same because we call them pants. We call quilts cover.
Absolutely.
Okay, we don't know what duvets are and quilts are because the language is different, and the language needs to accommodate what's happening in that culture. So yeah, you take the ACT and you take the ACT, but put it in a language that these kids
In each area, so
exactly.
wherever they, what their area.
Because they accommodate me if I only speak Spanish.
Yeah.
So why don't they accommodate me if I only speak
Exactly.
Ebonics?
Absolutely.
You know, and that's a whole nother thing that's going on, but it also it changes the dynamics of what's being taught.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
no, go ahead.
I say no more.
And, another thing that I want to hit, because we're talking about, of course, academics of our students, right? And I want to talk about, and particularly for me, and kind of clear the air about the after-school programs. You know, it's out there that Dr. Randle voted no for all these after-school programs, and that is not the case. The programs that we're paying money for are mentoring and enrichment programs. So these are not programs that actually teach academics to our children. And that is something we need to educate our parents about. When we say after school programs, that's just, what are we actually covering up? Because when you are paying people to come in for 1 hour and work with our students 1 day a week, that is not, I'm sorry, that's not a comparable after-school program. We have programs where people are making, you know, a large sum of money, and they go into one school and they're meeting with 50 kids or 25 kids in one school, and another school they're meeting with 25 kids another day in another school. So they're working 3 days a week, 1 hour a day in one school, and they want us to approve a contract. That is not equity to me. One, our after-school programs house possibly less than 10% of our students, meaning that we're paying like $200,000 to $300,000 in after-school contracts, and 200 kids in the entire district may be touched with those programs.
Are you serious?
So that is something that a lot of people may not know about, and that's why I voted, because I looked at those contracts and I saw contracts that says we would not service more than 50 kids.
Right.
And so although I believe all of our children should be a part of mentoring programs, they should be a part of enriching their personalities.
Yes.
I don't think it should be limited. I think if we have money to pay to look at, I believe all our children should be staying after school for a couple of hours to learn, and that's another way to help with our academics. And when all kids are not receiving that after school tutoring, when they're not having opportunity to do, instead of enrichment programs, those types of things, as well as academics, then we just miss out. You know, I'm not down for just teaching our kids to dribble basketball.
Hello.
You know, I think it's wonderful we have a program that teach our kids how to play tennis.
Oh, my son
You know,
loves it.
and those types of things. So I struggle with after school programs that everybody got to play basketball to be a part of it. You know, without some kind of
We discussed
academics.
that the last time, we were
Yes.
talking about how the kids need to have these programs back where they're sewing, cooking, learn how to knit, something
Home
other
ec,
than
yeah.
6 hours sitting in the
Vocational
school.
class.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know you're not teaching the students 6 hours or 5 hours.
Yes.
There need to be something that will spark their attention
Right.
and to get them to moving and seeing things other than that. And we even talked about voting.
Yes. So we talked about having a student sit on the school board.
That would be good.
So that students will have an opportunity to, and that way,
Like
that's a
student
voice
council, kind
that
of?
can go back to your household and say, hey, this is what I learned on the school board. This is what I'm part of this conversation. So the kids can go back. They will bring the voices, like you said, the students are empowered. They're impactful. They're powerful. They can say, we don't like lunch like this. We don't want to, we don't feel we're getting the best education. We want to do this. We want to be a part of these types of things. And they'll have a platform for that to happen.
And that'll bring the parent, because that child has to have transportation to the board meeting. So if I'm bringing one, you bring one, that'll bring the parent to the board meeting as well.
20 years ago, I brought up having a student to sit in on the board. Because South Suburban College has a student sitting on their board. And that encouraged our children to say, well, next year, I can be on that board. Because these children are in the classroom. These children can help us make decisions. They may be young, but they have sense also. And they'll be able to bring us forward. I mean, I'm almost 2,000 years old. I need my grandchildren and my children to keep me abreast of what's going on. But we got to bring that back. And we have to have people that don't mind these students sitting with us.
Let me say that even though I'm new to Riverdale, 148, I did come from CPS. I was a board president, and my daughter was the board president. They said, here go another Bush. This one, Bush was in the White House. Here come another Bush. So kids being on a board makes a difference.
Yes.
Because
I believe
my
that.
daughter, from kindergarten all the way through 8th grade, was the mistress of ceremony in her school. Every morning she gets up, she goes to school, she got to do morning announcement. She has to get this stuff. They have to give it to her in a week in advance. Because I can't have my daughter standing in front of nobody with paper in her hand saying, wah, 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 wah. She needs to know about memory.
I remember those days.
When she got on the board and she sat next to me, it made a difference. Because when she go back to the classroom, like, this is what's happening in our school. We need to change this.
Yeah.
This one little student, well, she ain't little no more, but this one student made a difference of sitting on the board. So kids on the board makes a difference. It makes a truly, truly difference. I can say that from my heart because I know my daughter sat next to me.
And it can help them make a decision on their career.
I'm sorry?
Do they still
You
have
know.
school announcements? Oh, okay.
They do still have
So
to.
having them on board, I was just thinking about my daughter.
Roosevelt. That's why I asked.
My daughter is about to graduate from LSU Law Center. She ran for office in the school. She put buttons together. She did a lot of things, civil things. So it directed her in that direction. My children would come to board meetings. So it encouraged them, hey, listen, we have to involve our children. Because these are the ones who's going to take care of us, that's going to combat what's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania. I don't even call that the White House. It's never been the White House for us. It's been a house of hell. And our children are going to make a difference with the climate of Earth. They're going to make a difference in the direction we go, and we want them to run for office.
Exactly.
So that's so important. Have them children to sit there on the board, and they'll know parliamentary procedure.
Yeah.
They'll know how to direct certain things and bring back to other students.
Exactly.
Is that an ordinance
and
that
they
has
will-
to be in place for
It does
them?
not, it's not an ordinance. Several districts do that. It's the same policy that we do. You will have the students, and I did explain this on Saturday, you have the students campaign, like what we're doing.
Okay.
You teach them, like, why should they
Yes.
represent their student body? So if you
Gotcha.
want one from each
class.
junior high, like,
Yeah.
you will probably start in 7th grade, because you want them to do a
Right.
2-year term. So in 7th grade, they fill out an application. And then they talk to their peers. Hey, why should
Yeah.
you vote for me? The same thing, what are you gonna do for us? What are you gonna go
Right.
back and tell about for us? Because if you want my vote, how are you going to make a change? And want to teach our kids about public speaking.
Amen.
And teach so that we not
Absolutely.
stuttering when we talk, but teach them how to articulate, teach them how to be critical thinkers.
Yes.
And then the thing
many
is,
skills.
they like to see their friends. So if I see my friend doing this, I want to do this. And
Right.
so we are encouraging a group of individuals to see things differently. Have them, teach them, give them the materials they need to make signs. campaign around the school, and then do the election. Hey, a voting ballot. Teach our kids how to vote. And then once that child is selected, then we bring them on board and we tell them, you need to be the voice. You need to go back. And you know, it's required that you give a report. Tell us what's going on in the schools. What has happened? If there's no report, no report. You know, if there's too many fights, there's too many fights going on in our school. And we have to respect their voices and what they say. They may not say things that we want to hear. And we'll teach them how to say it nicely. But, you know, you can't say that. Don't call a teacher out.
Right.
Don't bring the teacher's name up here, talk about what happened to you. You got, you know, this or that. But we're teaching, like, because we can't be on the board forever, right? And we need this to continue, but we want the best people in place. Right. And if we're modeling integrity and transparency, the kids get to see that.
And we can start them early on the elementary school level, as opposed to waiting to get to high school to run for homecoming queen or prom king or whatever. This level is important also, and we can put the emphasis here
And learn
as
how
well.
to get McDonald's on. They got to learn how to use utensils.
Yeah. Etiquette classes,
Etiquette,
like
right.
you said.
Well, I mean, when we had 21st Century, when I first started in this district,
Yeah, that was a good
there was a
program.
program called
That was
21st
a good
Century. So it was an
program.
hour of them doing homework and them doing computerized work, and then it was an hour or hour and a half or something of some type of I don't know. I taught sewing.
I did cooking class.
Yeah, and we had a cooking class, and we it was different things that you could do. We had an art class. You know, it was different things that you could do. And you didn't do that same thing every day. Like if I taught sewing, I might have taught it on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then they went somewhere else on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But, you know, it was a 3-hour class after school. Now, it was a little draining because the teacher was there until 6 o'clock. But it didn't seem like it was till 6 o'clock because it was so engaging. You know, it was very engaging. And I don't know what happened why they got rid of that program.
Grant funding.
Oh, okay.
But again, if we have money, we can, you know, we could simulate that program in the district. You know, you can do the same program, and we got money, and we did allocate funding for teacher salaries for after schools to simulate some of those programs.
Right.
Do they still have tenants?
The ACE program was not funded for this school year by the district.
Okay.
Can you change them to another type of program that you can still do it at tennis?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. Yeah.
If you still save money, somebody must be there somewhere.
And Dr. Randle, I just wanted to mention something else too. When I was there in 1999, we actually did a lot of things for the parents. Like we had computer classes, a GED program, and I thought that was pretty good as well.
Yeah,
So,
have courses for parents to come in too, yeah.
But I think what's important also is we have over 2,000 students in our district. So I don't know the breakdown of how many parents or guardians there are, but they have to be hundreds. Our board meetings should be packed. The parents, guardians, we have to get involved. We have to encourage each other. We have to encourage our neighbors. It matters not if you don't have any children or your children are grown. We are still in this community. The majority of our tax dollars go to support the schools. So we need to be invested and care about where our monies are going and what is being produced as a result of all those monies we're spending. People, I hear so much about people dying to get into the Homewood-Flossmoor area because they are known for having good schools in that area. Nobody is busting the doors down to get over here in Riverdale, and they should be.
That's right.
We should have great schools here, but it takes a community, the parents coming out, being vocal, being invested, caring about the quality of education that our children receive. So please, please try to, not try, like Nike's sign says, just do it. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to people in the grocery store when we waiting in these long lines or whatever. Bring up education. Bring up its importance and the importance of people getting involved. we can be just like these other communities. If we were living out in Des Plaines or Winnetka or whatever, them places, they pack. They gonna make sure their kids are getting a quality education.
Yeah.
And we need to do the same thing.
I think that the reason why parents haven't been so involved is because everybody has been following this Henry stuff.
Yeah.
I think that that's the distraction, and that's how we fell by the wayside on the school district, because dealing with Tiffany Henry has been a challenge within Dolton, period, within the world. So I think that now that she has been voted out, I think that parents are
Recentered themselves.
they recentered themselves, they reset, and now they're back into the school district, because as you see, it's all over the place. So I think that parents are going to be more involved now, especially with.
I'm hopeful that would happen, but when I looked at the percentage, because that Tiffany Henry stuff is nationwide, worldwide. You can go out of town and people mention her name. But despite that, the voting turnout was about 13%.
Oh, it was horrible.
For Dolton.
It was horrible.
And it's like so many people are voicing how they, despised her and how horrible she was and this and that. But a very low percentage came out.
Low.
It was even lower.
It was low, but it was higher than normal.
In Riverdale for
It
the
was
mayor
low,
election.
But it was higher, because we had 5,000 people. We had
it was low when she got elected.
Right, but it was
only
higher
13% when she got elected, and then when she
lost.
When she lost in the primary, it was like 25-30%.
Yeah, so it got higher. It got higher, but it was still a low
and
voter
It's still
turnout.
low.
Because
Yeah,
of the news.
Yeah.
Well, we need people to come
We
out.
need
for
to
this
come
election.
out. A lot of people don't even know.
Absolutely. Tell them again, they listening.
Come out and vote.
Broadcasting.
What's that?
We still have Comcast, is there a channel 3, 4, 5?
No.
That was when we was kids. When I went to Roosevelt.
Because I was a principal when they used to have their dog.
Right, remember?
They used to be on TV. They had their village meetings on TV. You could watch a certain channel.
When I did
remember
a
that.
play
Yeah.
at Roosevelt, they had that little free channel, and our
Yeah.
play was on, because we did the Nutcracker in 5th grade, and our play was on
the
one of
Dolton,
those Dolton, networks. That's old though.
Yeah.
A mantra of a church I used to attend was each one reach one. And that's what we need to employ. Each one reach one. Your neighbor, your friend, anybody. We have to get the conversations going. We have to get out and vote.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know. I was talking to my mailman today. He didn't even know it was an election. I'm like, are you under a rock?
A lot of people
You
don't.
see all these signs out?
A lot
All
of
this
people don't.
direct mail that's coming in, you're not reading it.
Yeah, a lot of people, you'd be surprised, don't even know there is an election April 1st. So we have to get out and vote.
Right. Well, we need to pay attention also to our, to our punch numbers. Whoever you decide to vote for. Andrea Johnson is 145. Dr. Shalonda Randle is 143. Aretha Harvey is 144. And then we have Ernesto Mickens. He's 146. And Miss Bush is 141. And then Mr. Givens is 142. So you need to pay attention to those numbers so that you can elect the person that you prefer to elect. Because I never miss my time. I always exercise my right to vote. Regardless of who I vote for, I've always exercised it. And I never knew, I always voted for the board members, but I never knew anything about them. I just voted 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I voted, this person, that's a Johnson. That's my mother's surname. I'll pick her. Or that's that person's name is Lawrence. That person is probably black. I'll pick him. So we need to know who we're voting for. And their correct punch numbers, so that you can get the person in office that you want in office, not that somebody else wants in office, or because only one person voted for this person and nobody else voted for this person, then we got this monster in office. Or whatever, because we currently have, and I apologize if I'm going to offend anybody about our presidency, but we currently have a monster in office as a president. It starts at the local level,
It does.
okay? It starts at the local level, and we really need to start exercising our rights to vote at the local level, because if we had local level voting, we would have Congress, we would have the House, we would have the president. It starts locally.
Because it directly affects us. Local elections.
Yeah,
school
local
board
elections directly affect us.
Card board elections. These things directly affect
Township.
us. Never in the history of
Exactly.
District 148 we ever had
So sick of
this
this.
many candidates.
Yeah.
Never.
agree.
We've never had this many candidates. And that's a good thing because people are interested. But we have to look at, why are these individuals running for office?
Yes.
Is it for the children?
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yes, ma'am.
Whenever you're having a meeting in one of these other little areas of our, I don't know what you would call it, that means when we're having meetings over at the Dolton Township, when we have a meeting in Dolton Village, somebody should be there.
Yeah.
And they should make it known
That is
that
true.
we need your help.
Yep.
You are not going to be able to get that, not unless you open your mouth and look into her camera.
Exactly.
Said, look into my
That's
camera.
why these municipalities need to work together.
Right,
And not one dominating the other, but working together
Yes.
for all the people in the community, for the tax dollars, because these children are going to say, what were you all thinking?
Yeah.
When I was in first grade, fifth grade, eighth grade? Because they're going to tell a story. They're going to either verbally or they're going to write it down. So we better be on point. These children are on point. They will Google us. Never in the history of this country, when black folks, Africans came 1619 in Comfort Point, Virginia, we have an opportunity to show just how smart we are. Anytime we can endure what we had to go through, then we know we can do a better job with District 148. If Winnetka, Glencoe, Naperville can have these beautiful schools, the walls painted white, beautiful lighting, then we should be able to have it right here. And we need to have individuals not afraid to go to these state senators and let them know we want the same thing or better. And that's what, and I thank God we had a board that allowed me to talk to Emil Jones. And I told him, I went to Winnetka, Glencoe, Naperville, saw those beautiful schools, and we have all these old buildings, dilapidated, oh, you know how Roosevelt School, the heating system, we made it happen. Harriet Tubman, Lincoln School, Washington School, we made it happen. And the majority of the people were people of color. So we know what we can do. We got good people that's running for office. But we also have individuals that want to sit up there and maybe keep the superintendent there. Because like you said, they only need one vote. And they can sit up and say, we changed our mind and we're going to give an extended contract to this individual. We need to know who these folks are. And are you serious about education? Are you serious about getting people that's going to fight for us? Then you need to get out there and vote. Hey, listen, if I don't win, that's okay.
So
It's how you handle a win or loss.
So who
But
else-
get the right people. That's not, they can't get one more vote.
who else is on the board that is running that would give them one more vote? I guess
Bruce Owens.
Bruce Owens.
Yes.
Okay.
Bruce Owens, also Faith Gunter's husband
Yes.
is running.
running.
William Gunter.
William Gunter.
He's running.
Gotcha.
Nancy Perkins.
Nancy
Yes,
Perkins.
who was a secretary.
Who's currently an employee of District 148
Is
is
she?
on the ballot as well.
She's the last person on the
William
ballot.
Gunter and Nancy Perkins are all running.
And Bruce Owens.
Bruce Owens.
Yes.
He's
And
sitting
then
on the
us 5
board,
people.
and he is a strong advocate
I know now.
for the extended
And you know what?
salary.
I'm gonna just tell y'all this. Y'all need to start going to more meetings within the Dolton,
You're right.
the Park District. Y'all need to start
library board.
the library board. Y'all need to start getting out more so people can get to know who's on the school board as well. Because now that we have Clean House 2025 in, they're going to work with all government offices. and school, including the school boards.
Yes.
So, you know, you guys have to start getting out there, maybe even the next meeting after the election, you guys come up, and especially if you retain your seat, and you don't speak to the parents, because they give you 3-minute public comment every meeting. It's in the township too,
Right.
because we have the
And
election.
the trustees have a meeting, they have a tea.
With the
On the
trustees.
second
Saturday of every month. Yep.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
we need to be there.
Yeah,
Yes.
y'all should. So even if you don't win your seat, I think it would be great to come into the community and still be involved, because there's so much that's going on that we have to, if we stay together and we all communicate one thing and everybody know what's going on, word of mouth, like y'all said, to everybody reach somebody,
Absolutely.
we can keep things going.
The
And
Rosa Mill is,
it's horrible.
yeah,
It's
well, and it's
horrible.
strong. I mean, you know, I heard it through the grapevine.
Yeah.
It's a very strong term that, you know, I'm gonna tell you something, and then I'm gonna tell you not to tell nobody.
Right.
But what
then
you gonna do?
I'm gonna tell somebody,
You gonna
and
tell
then it's
somebody,
gonna get
'cause you gonna tell that person
right.
to say nothing.
Yep. And then they gonna say
And then
something.
they gonna say something, and then it's gonna be out. It's,
Right.
it's out there.
And that's why transparency is the best thing,
Exactly.
because at least if I do say something, then I know, hey, look, I said this, but I'm gonna tell you I said it. I'm not gonna just go and say it and not let you know. But a lot of people don't do that.
To piggyback on what you said, the work does not stop after the vote.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We have to still be present.
Yeah.
We have to still strive to make a difference.
Absolutely.
So we really appreciate you all coming out.
No, thank you,
and
guys.
one thing I believe, you know, when people be like, well, you have meetings, people don't show up. But every meeting you get more people. On Saturday, we had a smaller turnout. This is an even bigger turnout than what
and
we
it's
had on
different.
Saturday.
All the people are different.
And they're different. We had something on Saturday every week.
about that.
So, and that's why we did it again. So
Okay.
this is something, it's a lot of work, but when you have different opportunities for people to come, like on the weekend or during the weekday, we have more opportunities that people can participate and we can hear those voices.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you, just in this week, in these 2 meetings, there have been some great ideas that have come from you all. Things that I'm like, you know what, that is a good idea. Thank you for sharing. That, like Ms. Johnson said, yes, they may need one person, but there's still 3 seats still on the board, and we still all have an opportunity to be on there, and we can keep pushing for what you are saying. We can keep on pushing it. We're not gonna stop. But I think there was some great conversations that happened from Saturday and today, and I'm just gonna say, being in education, I always appreciate families, communities, and parents, because you are the ones that we have to work with. And I always believe in partnering with you. So thank you for this opportunity that we
No,
had.
thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you for coming out, you know.
Did you tell them about your books that they
Yes,
can
and
get?
we also have literature here from the different candidates, so please take them. And then I also have some free resources for parents that you can also gather, and then take some extra snacks. And we'll be here for a little bit if you want to talk to us separately. But I know it's 8 o'clock, it's late, people have to work, babysitters and things, and I don't want to keep people here later than necessary.
And let me tell you, the right people are here.
Absolutely.
It could be 14 of us, but it's the right people that are here.
Yeah, your being here says a lot. So
Thank
thank you,
you.
and get out and
Thank you
vote
for
on
coming.
Tuesday. Get more people to vote.
Absolutely.
Make sure you
Thank
take
you.
some snacks, so we don't have to
So they
take.
did give out free books,
Thank
y'all.
you,
So this
thank you,
is one of the books, and this is another one of the books. And this is Ernesto's thing.